Aloha! Welcome back to Transfer Talk. As you know, I'm Travis, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Schwab, and we have an amazing series planned for you.
Yes, thank you, Travis. So welcome back, everyone. And before we get going, I just want to say congratulations to all of you who are on the verge of graduating from Kauai Community College. This marks a huge milestone in your academic journey and one worth celebrating. So take a quick moment to give yourself a pat on the back. So Travis, this series is going to really give our transferring students some key insights in how to prepare for their academic journey at the University of Hawaii West Oahu. What are some of the key topics that we'll be covering in these areas?
Great question, Dr. Schwab. In this series of episodes, we will focus on the initial process of transferring. This includes topics and questions surrounding readiness, how to face challenges as a community college transfer student, the benefits of UH West and finally, how to define success at this point in your academic journey. This series of episodes will cover many things that I wish that I knew during my first semester at UH West and it will definitely answer some questions you have. We have some absolutely amazing guests lined up, people you might already know, such as Alyssa Silva and incoming UH West students Jessica Herman and Ashia Mindoro. So stay tuned for the first episode titled Readiness and Preparedness, which will give you all the information you need for your first semester at UH West Oahu.
Hi, welcome back to Transfer Talk, and this is Anuhea, your host today, and I'm sitting with two awesome students, Travis and Alyssa, who are both live on Kauai and who have either done or are currently doing distance ed programs with UH West Oahu. This topic is going to be very much a student-driven, student opinion with having to do with readiness and preparedness for transfer and or attending a university from community college. So I'm just going to start off with some easy questions for you guys. Like, what did you guys study here at Kauai Community College? Go for it, Alyssa.
So I started here as a Running Start student my senior year in high school, and then I decided to continue here, and I didn't know what I wanted to study. The counselors put me in accounting class, and I decided to go with it, so I got my associates in accounting from KCC.
And I finished my creative media associates in December of 2019, and then I went on and continued with my liberal arts degree and finished in spring of 2022.
Both very different learning areas of interest. Yeah. So, okay, within that process, while you're a student at KCC, at what point did you start thinking about transfer and or even transfer to specifically UH West Oahu?
I think when I graduated high school, I planned to go directly to a university, but when I graduated, I didn't feel ready to leave. So I came to KCC, and I knew that I wanted to go off island to at least try it out. And then after I tried it out, I decided it wasn't for me. So that's when I started to consider finishing my degree at West Oahu.
Where did you go when you decided to try something else?
I tried out UHWO my junior year after getting my associates. I was continuing accounting there, and I think pretty early on in my transferring, I decided I wanted to switch to West Oahu to finish.
Nice.
Yeah, and for me, like, it was always in the back of my mind because while I was working for the Department of Marketing and Outreach here on campus, Anuhea and Rhonda's office was literally 5 steps away. So it was kind of always in the back of my mind. But I would say I seriously started considering transferring around the fall of 2021 when I was getting close to finishing my liberal arts degree.
Yeah, and I think when you finish your liberal arts degree, it makes the gen ed requirements like completely mute. Mm-hmm. Like you're done and you just literally jump into your concentration classes. So I think that was a good path to choose. So oftentimes when students are thinking about transferring and they don't know what they want to transfer to, but they know they want to get a bachelor's degree, I feel like going the liberal arts route is your best way in order to finish like all your gen eds that is necessary. Yeah. Okay, so when either of you transferred to West Oahu, what did you choose as a major? And why did you choose those majors?
I decided to continue my accounting degree. I had initially planned to be a CPA, and so I was at Scheidler my junior year at UHWO doing accounting, and I saw that the transfer to UH West Oahu would be really easy, and it was perfect because I could do it from home, do it online. And so, yeah, I just continued with accounting, and yeah.
Nice. So what year did you graduate with your accounting bachelor's degree from UHWO?
2021.
2021.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Just joking.
I had a COVID graduation.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Right outside.
Awesome. And then Travis.
Yeah, so I transferred over in fall of 2022, and I was originally an English major, but I eventually switched over into history because all of the papers I was writing about the historical context of an author or a book or a literary trend. So it only made sense to be a history major. And then also meeting the history faculty when I took the Humanities 300 course like really motivated me as well. And ultimately, I want to be a history teacher. So I know it sounds stupid to say, but it's only logical to have a firm foundation in history, right? So
Makes a lot of sense. So do you feel any instructor, advisor, or staff here at QuACC or UHWO helped with your transfer process?
yeah, absolutely. So definitely Dr. Iram, who teaches in the social sciences here at KCC, she really taught me how to think academically, how to navigate complex ideas and form research questions. And she really helped me strengthen my voice. Without her, I definitely wouldn't have been able to transfer, I don't think. And the sense of support and encouragement that she has given me over the years has been amazing. You also got to take into account like some of the practical skills. Dr. Mar, who teaches English here, definitely strengthened my writing skills, gave me a really solid foundation to build off of. And then, of course, can't leave out Anuhea and Rhonda. You know, they really helped me throughout the process and, again, have been an amazing support system, like a real pillar throughout this entire process.
Awesome. And then Alyssa, do you feel like any instructor, advisor, or staff here at Kauai Community College and or UHWO who helped with your transfer and transition?
Yeah, so when I came to KCC and I was studying accounting, I had Ann Kennedy and Mr. Neaty, and I feel like the accounting program that they built really prepared me for my transfer. I felt very prepared in all my accounting classes, and it just really helped me feel like I knew the foundations of accounting. And Miss Kennedy actually brought me into her office and had all these papers printed out and told me what classes would be good to take for my transfer to Manoa to cut down on those classes and take as much as I could here. And yeah, she really helped me map out my whole thing because I knew I wanted to try to finish in the 2 years after KCC. 4 years total. But yeah, she helped a lot.
Nice. Yeah, it's really great when instructors know that about students and then are proactive enough to like show you those options in the avenue and like really ensure that path for you. I think that's really great. Oh, so we're moving on to the next question. Okay, so before and or during the transfer and choices of transfer, did you guys each have any hesitations or worries about transferring? I know as academic support here at Kauai Community College for UHWO, I think one of the top worries I get from students are like that financial jump of how much it costs, like per credit is like over $300 at UHWO compared to like $100 at Kauai Community College. So I don't know, what other hesitations or worries did you guys have?
So I would say financially, I was a little worried about the cost, but it was nice because I could live at home while doing my degree, so that saved a lot. And then I was a little bit worried about being a completely online student. I think prior to that, I had only taken one online course, but my classes at UHWO were very clear, and the instructions and the instructors were very good with Zoom and Laulima and all the platforms that we use. So I didn't have too much trouble adapting to being completely online.
Yeah, I have to echo a lot of what Alyssa just said. I would definitely say I had a little bit more hesitation. School for me, even here at KCC, hasn't been necessarily easy or painless, right? So I definitely had some concerns revolving around the question, am I ready to transfer? On top of that, you have this common vision of what university is like. You get this vision of 400 students in a lecture hall. The professor can't possibly know your name, like those types of things. The online only thing, I was taking classes during COVID, so I was kind of used to it, but the jump that I had to make was when I was taking online classes here, there was the expectation that there was eventually going to be an end of that. But going into this program at West Oahu, that's all you're going to be doing. So mentally adjusting to that was a bit of a hurdle. And then of course, yeah, definitely the cost, right? And for me, I just had to do like a cost benefit analysis, return on investment type of thing where, yeah, like living at home, staying on Kauai is definitely going to save me more money than if I had to move over to Oahu.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sure if students are listening to this, they also have the same worries and know that you're not alone in feeling those things. Would you guys both share how you overcame those worries or hesitations that you had?
Sure. So when I was at UH Manoa, my transfer from KCC to UH Manoa, I wanted to transfer to UH West Oahu primarily because I didn't want to live on Oahu. I think in the fall when I first transferred, I realized that. And so being able to live at home was better cost-wise, and it also just made me feel more comfortable. I guess I'm a homebody. And then I would say for online classes, when I was at UH Manoa, the end of my junior year and my senior year, a lot of those teachers were trying to learn teaching online with us because of COVID. But I felt that for UH West Oahu, a lot of the classes were already being taught online. So it was me learning from the teacher, not all of us having to learn online together. So I think that helped with the class flow a lot and helped me.
Yeah, and I like that you also share when we give presentations to like other students about how to stay organized online, like with your Google Drive and making sure you have folders and saving like previous work. I think those are really good tips that you've shared previously as well. Would you mind expanding on those tips and tricks that you shared?
Sure. So one thing that I really like to do, and I wish I started from the very beginning, was to save all my work in Google Drive. Most of our classes use Google Docs, Google Sheets, all that Google Drive stuff. And so what I started doing is I create a folder for the semester. So fall 2019, spring 2020, and I make a folder for each class. And automatically, once I start working on that piece, it goes into the folder. And it actually became very useful because I started with accounting, and a lot of the accounting work from the beginning actually was very useful towards the end of my degree. So I was able to backtrack and look at old notes and old worksheets, and all that stuff ended up being very useful. Also, I'm very much of a paper person. So if it helps to print out your readings, if you're going to Kauai Community College, you can print for free. So if it helps, just print and write and highlight, and you can do all that stuff. And I also love using a paper planner. So at the beginning of the semester, I print out all the syllabi for every class because usually they type out your whole semester when things are due. I love that when teachers do that. So I go through each syllabi and write due dates, write it in pencil because it'll probably change. But at least then it'll help you not miss dates or remind you. And yeah.
I love that. And I'm a huge proponent of like saving old notebooks as well, because you never know when like older obscure, I don't even know, like fact or concept, like you never know when you're going to need that. I can't tell you how many times I've referred back to old notebooks and it like borderline saved one of my papers, right? So like, yeah, great advice. I love it. And to get back to your original question, Anuhea, I think the hardest thing for me was internalizing the fact that I already had higher ed experience. Graduating from KCC, you already have 2 years. That's great lived experience. You've already developed executive functioning skills. You're ready to go. The other side of that is realizing it's okay not to know everything, to be unsure. As long as you have an open mind and you're willing to learn and take on challenges, you're good to go. And then finally, just putting in the time and effort, attending office hours, doing good work. I would say it took me a semester to feel like I truly belonged at UH West Oahu.
Yeah, so one of your recommendations, right, are usually to make sure that you go to the office hours of your professors, even though, you know, it's not the cool thing to do, that people don't show up to them. So yeah, the next question I have for you guys is, do you have any recommendations or advice for students who may be feeling the same way, whether it's don't feel confident enough to be at a university level, or are not ready for this online, or not feeling like they're in the right place? Like any sort of advice or recommendations you could give students?
Yes, I do. So I would say I feel that when you're ending your high school career or you're starting off early, just out of high school, there's a lot of pressure to leave just to get that experience off island. And I think I definitely felt that pressure. And so that's why I was like, I have to at least go to UHWO or off island for 1 year. And it was completely not for me. So I think even though you may feel a lot of that pressure, it's totally okay to stay home and continue your education, because you are successful and you can be successful anywhere.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, Alyssa. I think that you got to do what's best for yourself and not listen to whatever other pressures of society and or wherever it may be coming from. But like, you're like, no, I like living here and I want to live here. There's so many opportunities now for you to stay on the island and pursue higher education, even getting your master's degree, which we'll get to in a little later. Travis, what are your recommendations?
Yeah, so realize that you're not starting from step one. You, like I said, you already have 2 years of great work done, and take that foundation and just run with it. View the challenges of distance ed as just that, challenges to overcome. And then also, of course, come and talk to Anuhea and Rhonda. Find some students that are in the program that you're looking at and ask for their opinion. Reach out to your professors, see if they have any connections over at UHWO. I know some of the history faculty here on KCC went to grad school with my capstone advisor. So like, ask for an introduction, get your foot in the door. And then lastly, do some research into the programs that you're looking at. Find out what is expected of you and what the coursework is going to be like, and run from there. You're going to do great, I promise.
Awesome. Yeah, those are great recommendations, guys. Okay, last question, but the best question. What's your plans for your future?
Sure. So right now I am working at Kauai Community College Library as an academic support specialist. It was kind of unplanned because my degree is in accounting, and I was kind of nervous to make that jump, but I remembered being a student worker at the library during my associate's degree. I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to learn more. Like, I saw people in the library doing these things as a student worker, and I was like, I kind of want to do that. So I applied for the job, and I'm working full time. And then about a year into working, Rhonda and I were sitting on, I think, the plane back from HSSI, and she was like, oh, there's this degree you should consider. And so we talked about it pretty much the whole plane ride, and I think that was in May, and then I started in August with the UH Manoa LAS program, Library and Information Science. So in the fall, I will be starting my 3rd semester. So I'm almost halfway done with that.
Nice. And that's
amazing.
a completely online master's degree, the Library Information Science?
Yeah, it's completely online. So you can graduate with your master's degree from them without ever going. Like, even orientation is optional.
So you can reach even higher and not leave Kauai.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Like, I didn't know that story. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I just love the whole, like, I was accounting, but now I work at the library. Like, I think a lot of students also get really closed-minded in the fact, like, whatever my major is what I have to pursue in my future, but it's not. Like, having a bachelor's degree shows you have this new set of skills, and you can commit to something and you can complete something, so that you still bring a lot to the table, even though it may not be in your specific area of major or concentration. It's still helpful.
Yeah, I think that definitely adds on to, like, not letting the pressure of other people affect you too much. Like, definitely look for them for guidance, but I definitely felt the pressure. I was like, oh, I have an accounting degree, I have to go be a CPA now. But I just leaned in towards my interest and found a online degree that was perfect.
That's
Nice.
awesome. Okay, Travis, your turn. What are your plans for the future?
So in the immediate sense, I'm going to be graduating from UHWO in December. After that, I plan on attending graduate school to get a master's in education, and eventually I want to teach high school here on Kauai. That's the game plan.
Yeah. So grad school apps, get them done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This was great, and I love that it's coming from recent graduates and or current students' perspective, so that people that are coming in know that, like, this is not me telling you. I've gone to college decades ago, so these are like fresh young minds telling you this information. So thank you guys for your time and your thoughts and efforts and all the above, and for being here and sharing with your experiences with the students.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Mahalo
you.
nui loa.
So, facing challenges as a transfer student. I think it is worth a moment to recognize that you have already accomplished a great feat. Think about it. You have just completed 2 years of college. But what does that mean? Well, you spent the last 2 years at Kauai CC essentially learning how to be a college student, and you have done some amazing work thus far. You have likely overcome many challenges throughout the journey up to this point. That resilience is something that you could link to your character. It's a piece of what sets you apart. You've come a long way. Without a doubt, take ownership of that progress. Now, transferring is a moment of growth and change, but at the same time, it can feel like a goodbye to your peers, mentors, and sense of belonging at Kauai CC. I want to emphasize that Kauai CC still offers many great resources for transfer students, and with some effort, you can definitely maintain solid student-mentor relationships with KCC faculty. I know I have. Kauai CC and UHWO are similar in many respects, yet there are some very real differences. Those differences have the potential to be a curveball for transfer students. That's where Dr. Schwab and I come in. We will discuss some of the most common questions and concerns transfer students have.
Yeah, Travis, those are some good talking points that you just brought in about that transfer process and what you have established here at Kauai Community College and becoming that student that's ready for the next step, that next level, transferring to the University of Hawaii, West Oahu. So first impressions. The first thing that you're going to encounter when you go to UH West Oahu is you're going to have to start registering for your courses. And that's going to give you your first impression of what the campus vibe and the culture is like. Understand that you're coming into a new institution where you haven't necessarily been able to form those relationships that you have at KCC. So you're very familiar with the faculty here, with your support systems here. And now it's the time for you to become familiar with the support systems that are available to you through the University of Hawaii at West Oahu. So at first, you're going to start registering, and in that capacity, you're going to have a very professional relationship with your academic advisor who's going to walk you through just the nuts and bolts and core class requirements that you're going to have to start off with in your first semester. Kauai here, it's a small island. You get to know everybody on a first name basis. You form these relationships, and you're going to be able to do the same thing at UH West Oahu. But just understand forming these relationships and making them meaningful is going to take time. And eventually, when you're leaving UH West Oahu, you're going to be having some of the same impressions you had here at KCC. You're going to know that there's a support system, people that are invested in your journey and care about what you're doing.
Yeah, Dr. Schwab, you're right on the money. It takes time to form those relationships. The next talking point we want to discuss is the questions of difficulty. You have a baseline understanding of what the workload is like here at KCC, but you're moving up the ladder. You don't necessarily know what to expect going into West Oahu. I like to give a weightlifting analogy. Think of your workload and difficulty level here at KCC as 2 plates on the bench press. Now, for those who don't know, 2 plates is 45 pounds on each side. One of the core goals of weightlifting is to increase your strength by gradually increasing the weight on the bar. So people often think that transferring is going to add 5 more plates to each side. No, that's not the case. It's a gradual progression, and if you keep up your level of interest and effort in your studies that you have put here at KCC, you're going to do great at West Oahu.
Yeah, I agree, Travis. That's one of the philosophies of education is that you gradually increase your capacity to do more and more rigorous work. So you have set for yourself a very good foundation with the skills and the resiliency to overcome a lot of those academic challenges. And when you go to UH West Oahu, you're going to find yourself continuing on that journey as you become a more and more proficient academic. So that's definitely some good advice for our students to hear, is that you don't need to be intimidated by what's to come because you formed those skill sets already here at KCC.
100%, Dr. Schwab. The foundation that I gained here at KCC set me up for success at UH West Oahu and hopefully beyond. Another common area of concern is registration, specifically navigating registration. For distance education, there are some things that you have to do. First up, you have to filter the results in STAR for online delivery only. Now, occasionally, this will provide only limited results, only a few classes, but don't freak out. I guarantee you that you will be able to finish on time. One course may have multiple listings, both in person and online. It may have the same exact time slot, same exact professor, but you have to make sure that you register for the online section. Also, registration at UHWO and UH in general is first come, first serve. And online classes fill up very quickly, especially during junior year. If a class that you need to take is maxed out for online students, I highly recommend that you reach out to your academic advisor if a class that you need to take is filled to capacity. See if they can reach out to the professor and add another slot for you to join the class. That is definitely worth an email.
I have to agree, Travis. I've had times in my distance education journey where I had courses that had filled up, and in some of the places that I was doing my education with, the time frames between Hawaii time and maybe Central Standard Time dictated that only a few classes would be available within the time slots that I could actually attend due to my work schedule. And the university is usually wanting to accommodate you, and all it takes is for the academic advisor to reach out to the professor of the course and to see if they're willing to take on an additional student. That may not happen. It may happen. The class may have a bunch of students who are trying to get in, and it's just too much to facilitate for every student. There's a high likelihood that accommodations can be made. It doesn't hurt to ask. So reach out if you find yourself in that situation.
I have in the past, and I have actually been accepted into a class that was previously filled to capacity. So that's definitely worth an email.
Yeah, and I think this discussion that we're having right now, Travis, is a perfect segue into the next point that we wanted to make, was that you have tremendous layers of support in your distance education journey here at UH West Oahu. The first point of contact that you might make would be with your distance educational specialist here on island as you start pre-planning what you're going to do when you transfer to UH West Oahu. They have all the resources to connect you with the right people to make sure that the transfer process goes very smoothly. And then you're probably going to talk to your academic advisor. And that's really the nuts and bolts of just getting the registration completed and locked in. You also can go to that academic advisor if you need to do something like course override. Say there's something that's popped up within your course sequence and a course isn't offered that you need, and they need to find out some way to substitute a course for the one that you're going to take. Well, they can also reach out to the department chair or the professor and say, hey, what can we do to help accommodate this student who's trying to graduate on time? And then you have your faculty advisor. And this is a really instrumental part in your journey because your faculty advisor is the one who's really in tune with the context of your major and why certain courses are structured the way they are, why the sequence is set the way it is. So you definitely want to talk to your faculty advisor to find out why I should take certain courses before other courses, because they might build upon each other. And I think, Travis, you had a great example of this. You want to share that with us?
A textbook example is you should probably take 19th century Hawaiian history before you take 20th century Hawaiian history.
For sure. And that makes sense, right? You think about it. We definitely want to take 19th century history before we try to contextualize 20th century Hawaiian history, because history builds upon each other, and events in the past definitely influence events in the future. Well, on the other hand, there's also classes that follow a survey format that don't need to follow a specific order. And at that point, you can take them at the time that's most convenient for you. And then last, your support system is with your distance learning classroom support specialist here in the distance education classroom. Here you can meet up with an advisor who can help you with any IT issues you might have with your computer. And you can also come up here to get access to some of your courses. Maybe it's online, maybe you need a quiet place to study. And so you have that support people on campus here that you can face-to-face talk to. And I want to echo one of the things that we had talked about in maybe a previous podcast, Travis. Support isn't just going to be the black and white issues of going through classes at UH West Oahu. Sometimes support is just balancing life. It's about talking to somebody and saying, I'm facing some challenges here. What are some options for me with these new life events that may have taken place?
Yeah, sometimes it comes down to just getting off of Zoom for a little bit. Getting to talk to somebody face to face. That can be really instrumental.
You can get into the monotony of being an online student, of going to your classes, doing your async, answering questions on a forum. And sometimes you really need that human connection. The way you do that is you can come to campus, you can visit our on-campus educational support specialist that's here at the One Stop Center. You can visit our specialist who's here in the distance education classroom, and you can just talk story. That's really helpful when you want to connect. I also have to shout out again, when you meet with your advisor here or your educational support specialist, they can also help connect you to the peers that you have here on island, all ones that are also involved in distance education. They can also get you to campus so that you can go there and attend and meet people and hang out. And I think that personal relationship builds community, and community becomes part of your support system, or that ties into your success as well.
Community is so valuable. 100%, Dr. Schwab. And I'm really glad that we got to go into who do you go to for what type of challenge. I remember during my first semester that was a little confusing, and I hope this really helps the students.
So this has been a great podcast. I hope you guys found some key information here, and I'm just going to leave you guys with this. Your layers of support, if you guys need to reach out to anyone, is your academic advisor at UHWO, your faculty advisor who knows your major inside and out, your distance education specialist here on Kauai, as well as making time to make it up here into the distance education classroom. And if you rely on those 4 things and you surround yourself with those people, I promise you your journey is going to be amazing.
So now we're sitting down with Anuhea to talk about the benefits of UHWO. We could probably talk about this all day, but let's hit on some of the key points. Cost, class size, cultural mission, and course variety. So first up we have cost. At the outset, full-time resident tuition at UHWO comes in at just over $3,500 a semester, which is notably lower compared to other institutions in Hawaii that often exceed over $5,000 per semester. By opting for UHWO, you are already making significant savings right from the start. Looking at the bigger picture, with tuition totaling $14,000 over 4 semesters for a transfer student to graduate on time at UHWO, it's pretty clear that every dollar counts.
Choosing a distance education pathway represents an opportunity to save money. Consider this. Attending classes at UHWO in person as a neighbor island student means you have 2 choices. First would involve you flying back and forth multiple times a week. Even with the various airlines rewards, credit cards, and travel points, it can quickly become a financial burden. Not to mention the physical strain of constant travel and all the logistics involved with that. Parking and rides and Uber, it all adds up.
Yeah, and the alternative would be to relocate to Oahu, which entails significant expenses such as shipping your car, securing housing with first and last month's rent, renter's insurance, and furnishing a new living space. While exact figures are, pretty hard to pin down, a conservative estimate hovers around $8,000 to $10,000 up front. Here's the key point. If you're already situated on Kauai with an established support network in place, remaining on island can lead to substantial cost savings. Whether you live with family or rent locally, staying put on Kauai is a wise financial choice.
I would like to also add in, to save you some money, if you're a super driven, motivated student that's wanting to finish their degree as quick as possible, UH charges you as a full-time student 12 credits a semester, but any more than that doesn't cost you anymore. So you can take 15, 18 credits. It's up to you as long as you can handle it and are not going to fail it. That, in the end, you're basically getting free credits for the same amount. So think about that.
Yeah, I would highly recommend all students to do that if they are comfortable and capable of doing so, for sure.
And you would know that. You would know yourself the best.
Yeah, and then, also I've known a few students who have gone over and moved to Oahu to attend school, and especially during their first semester, the temptation to indulge in the nightlife on Oahu can become super expensive, and it can also negatively impact your grades. So that's something else to consider. If you know you can handle that and do that responsibly, sure, go ahead. But if the temptation is too great, then you might want to stay on Kauai.
Less temptation on Kauai for sure. All right, moving on to class size. If you've appreciated the personalized access to professors that Kauai Community College provides, then UHWO would align very well with your expectations. All of our classes have 20 students or less, and you know what that means? Plenty of opportunities for those meaningful interactions that make learning not just memorable, but also downright enjoyable. Travis, can you tell us why this is important?
Let me tell you a little secret. There are peers of mine who have practically become my academic partners in crime. We've shared the journey through 5 or 6 classes together at UHWO, and that's where the magic happens. Trust and camaraderie naturally start to form, and suddenly you've got another layer of your support system. These peers aren't just classmates. They're your go-to for bouncing ideas, getting feedback, and yes, having a good laugh or two. There's this image we have of university lecture halls. Hundreds of students packed in, and the professor can't possibly know your name. That is the total opposite of UHWO. You're not just another face in the crowd. You're seen, heard, and valued as an individual. You're not just a student. You're an individual with a name, a story, and a bright future ahead. So Anuhea, tell us about the cultural mission of the university.
I'll just go ahead and read you UHWO's mission and vision. UHWO is a premier, comprehensive, indigenous serving institution dedicated to educating students to be engaged, global citizens and leaders in our society. So I really want to just step back into the indigenous serving part of it. And so because we are in Hawaii on Native Hawaiian land, we want to make sure that what UHWO does is serve Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders, not only as students, but we also have many programs that we offer that are in Hawaiian language. We have a certificate. We have a Hawaiian and Indigenous Health and Healing Bachelor's in Applied Science. We also offer a Humanities in Hawaiian Pacific Studies.
I'm really glad that you introduced UHWO's mission statement to the listeners. In my experience, UHWO as an institution upholds this mission very well. So if it resonates with you as a listener, as a potential student, then UHWO is the place for you. Now, Anuhea, can you tell us more about the course variety at UHWO?
When supporting students, one of the main benefits I like to share about UHWO is the wide breadth and variety of concentrations and majors that we offer via distance learning, which is huge. So when you live on an outer island, when you live here in Kauai and you don't want to move, I feel like UHWO offers something for everyone. We have from accounting to Hawaiian Indigenous Health and Healing. We have creative media to justice administration. We also offer business and we also offer education. There's a variety, and I feel like, yes, once again, to repeat that, there's something for everyone. So it may not be your perfect fit, but I think it would be something to help you reach that next level or those next goals in your life.
Next up, we have Jessica Herman. Now, for all the listeners, Jessica is a model student in many ways. She has been incredibly proactive by taking ownership of the journey. That is, planning out her next steps. She has even taken the time to fly over and tour UHWO's campus. How cool is that?
Yes, Jessica, it's great to have you here today. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from here on Kauai, and what will you be studying at UHWO?
Hi everyone, my name is Jessica Herman. I am originally born and raised from Kapa'a, so represent. And at UHWO, I will be studying hospitality and tourism.
Awesome. It's great to have the East Side represented on the podcast. Who here at Kauai CC has helped you in your academic journey and your decision to transfer to UHWO? In other words, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I have 3 people in mind actually. So I would say the first one, he was my old counselor at the time for business administration. So it's Wade Tanaka. He was actually the first person to introduce me to West Oahu and brought up the idea of transferring there because he was like, hey, I saw that you don't really have a plan. I know you aren't sure yet on what you want to do. So how about this school? I saw that you have most of the credits done there. So I think transferring there would be super easy for you. He definitely helped me out a lot. And the second person would actually have to be Anuhea. She is a distance education academic support specialist here at KCC. And she was there to help many students here at KCC transfer to West Oahu. It was through her that I was able to visit the campus and get a tour. She really helped me clear my path towards my vision of becoming a full-time in-person student at University of West Oahu. And the third person would definitely have to be Travis as well. Travis is so good. So I look at him like a senior who is currently studying at UH West Oahu, and he has provided me so much support and just clearance. Like any questions that I have, he always has an answer to it. So I definitely appreciate Travis as well.
Yeah, I got to say, those are great people to get advice from. Double down on Travis on that.
Hey.
Excellent right there. And you got a great support system, in your journey. So keep a hold of that. So you had mentioned earlier you were able to attend one of the student symposium trips. Can you kind of walk us through the campus tour and some of the highlights of that experience?
Yeah, we actually started off our day by attending a research conference held by the students. Seeing the upperclassmen do a fantabulous presentation about their research topics helped me give a visual on what to expect as a student near graduation. So that was really cool, actually. We also got to do a campus tour, and through the campus tour, we were able to meet some faculty members, some students, and we also got to get a nice imagery of what the campus looked like. And for a student who was about to transfer to University of West Oahu, it was really nice being able to see where my classes were and get a general idea of what the environment of the campus looked like. I think I would have an easy time personally as a first-time student because their buildings are super nicely labeled and their library is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I found my safe space to do my homework and some classwork. So that definitely helps a lot.
So Jessica, you had options between being a distance education student versus like a quote unquote traditional in-person face-to-face student. When thinking about distance learning on Kauai compared to being a full-time on-campus student on Oahu, what led you to making the decision to make the big move?
One big reason that kind of shaped my decision on becoming a full-time in-person student at UHWO Oahu would definitely have to be the pandemic. So when school suddenly switched to fully online learning, I had a really hard time personally. I'm not the best at having that self-discipline on finishing classes online, and I feel like I'm more of a visual learner and a hands-on learner, so I would like to be there in person and see how my teacher writes on the board and explains, and it's easier to ask questions. I feel like instead of having to wait for an email, in class I can definitely ask that question and see like a full visual explanation on how the answer best fits me and on how to understand it. And so that definitely has shaped my decision on wanting to be there full time, because I think it gives me discipline on having to go to class on time, getting that work done, and just being there for the experience as well is super nice. You get to meet new people, new environment. A couple of years ago, I actually moved to Japan for a year, and that was like a big growth, personal growth for me. I never moved away from my parents. I never lived outside of my parents' house, so I really got this sense of responsibility and self-discipline. I want to experience that again. I like that freedom of having to do things myself and honestly grow as a person. So I think in-person classes and being a full-time student at West Oahu would definitely be helpful to me.
Yeah, excellent. A lot of people have different learning styles and things they tend towards, and in-person learning is definitely also a big one for me as well, because I was in both environments through my undergraduate and then moving more to distance learning as I became a professional and started working full-time and still wanting to complete my academic studies. So when thinking about your academic journey thus far, is there any advice you would give to a future incoming student from Kauai who is thinking about transferring?
Yeah, definitely. I would have to say the number one rule for me is to don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Do not be afraid to do what you want to do. I know there's a lot of factors that kind of seem worrisome, like especially for me in my family circumstance. I pay for school, so my parents were worried about how are you gonna follow through with this? How are you gonna pay for school over there and apartments and stuff? And there's always gonna be financial aid, there's always gonna be scholarships. And at the end of the day, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this to accomplish your own personal goals and your academic goals. And I think it's a good experience overall. I go out there, experience new things, whether you're scared to try something new. I think in the end, it's 100% worth it. So don't be afraid to invest in your own personal journey, because in the end, it's going to work out great. So, yeah.
Excellent. That's great advice.
Yeah, I agree. That is fantastic advice, Jessica. I want to say thank you so much for coming in today, and mahalo nui loa for those kind words. I really appreciate it. It was great to sit down and talk story with you. Best of luck with your studies. You're going to do great, and you're going to make Kauai proud.
Thank you. It was fun being here. I liked it a lot.
Yes, thank you.
So now we're sitting down with Ashia Mindoro. Ashia works down in the library, and she's going to be transferring to West Oahu in the fall. Mahalo for coming on the podcast, Ashia. We really appreciate it, and I'm sure our listeners do as well.
Yes, thank you, Ashia, for spending time with us today. Ashia was one of the first students who I had the privilege to shadow while she registered for her first semester at UHWO. I was able to sit in with her and our distance learning specialist, Anuhea, and learn the ins and outs of registration process from specifically the student perspective. So, Ashia, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from here on Kauai, and what will you be studying at UHWO?
Well, I'm from Honolulu, outside of Lihue, a little bit on the east side, and I will be studying humanities of Hawaiian studies at UHWO, and it's going to be like my very first semester there, so I'm kind of excited about it.
It's great to have Honolulu represented on the podcast, and I gotta say, UHWO has a fantastic Hawaiian studies program, Ashia. In fact, I know one of their instructors very well. Let me know if you want me to set up an introduction email for you. I'd be happy to do so. You're going to learn so much. This is great. Who here at Kauai CC has helped you in your academic journey and your decision to transfer to UHWO? In other words, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I would like to thank Anuhea for helping me through the process, because when I first wanted to go to UHWO, like I kind of didn't really know who to talk to, but then somebody actually referred me to her and they're like, oh yeah, she's like the specialist on campus. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and talk to her and see what it's about. And she got me through the transfer process, which is pretty easy. I thought it was gonna be pretty hard, but it was painless.
That's what we like to hear, right?
Yeah, I'm going to throw in another question here, because I noticed that your transfer process wasn't necessarily the same traditional one for automatic transfers who get in. You actually had to go through the whole application process. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain to us how the steps of that and how that went for you?
It wasn't actually that hard, but when you just have to like read the questions good, and then it's kind of pretty simple. It's like straightforward.
I would say you probably feel pretty prepared for your first semester at UHWO. What's helped build that confidence as you being here from Kauai and then making that big step from your associates to a university that's located on Oahu?
Well, I'm actually prepared for my first semester at UHWO because next semester over there, I have asynchronous classes. So we've had asynchronous classes here. I'm kind of like used to that atmosphere, and I really prefer asynchronous over synchronous and in-person classes anyway.
Right. I remember when I was going to school, I had a mixture of both synchronous and asynchronous, and getting to the synchronous courses and logging in and zooming in and being a part of that live session was always kind of hectic to squeeze into your busy schedule. And the asynchronous kind of allows you to work at your pace, work within more of a lenient time frame to get all your studies in, get all your forums answered, all your questions answered. So I definitely know how that feels.
Yeah, the pivot over to online learning is definitely the way of the future, and asynchronous classes are a major component of that. I personally love the flexibility that asynchronous classes gives us. So Ashia, in conclusion, is there any advice you would give to a future incoming student from Kauai who are thinking about transferring?
Yeah, I would like to say that, well, once you're done with your associates, and then you might get an email like talking about auto emit. It's like a notification telling you that you can bypass the application and like the $50 and stuff like that you have to pay to get into like one of the Hawaii universities. So my advice to them is don't ignore that email like how I did. You should probably go and do it, because I had to go and do the application process. I mean, it's not bad either, but I don't know, if you want to save some time.
Save some money too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So Ashia, is there any other practical advice you could give to transferring students that they should keep their eye out for?
Well, yeah, I would go and track down your distance education specialist on your campus, and you should really ask them for help about like the transfer process and stuff like that. You shouldn't be able to, or if you want to, I mean, like they make things easier if you go and ask them for help. And I would say if you have a distance education classroom on your campus, I would go and like utilize it, because it's there for a reason.
Yeah, and funny that you said as you guys have heard probably in some of the previous podcast sessions that we've done, is that we have a really great state-of-the-art distance education classroom here upstairs at the library here at Kauai Community College. And even if you're not thinking about transferring yet, or if that's something that you might be doing in the future, I just encourage you, go upstairs, take a look at it. You're going to be really impressed, and it's a great resource for our students here.
Yeah, absolutely. The distance education classroom is one of my favorite places on campus. Ashia, mahalo again for coming on the podcast. Best of luck with your studies at UHWO. You're going to do great, and you're going to make Kauai proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
With all this talk about auto-admit, Anuhea, can you give us some tips and tricks and some more information about it?
Okay. Auto-admit is probably the most underutilized, underrated transfer process within the University of Hawaii system. So basically, if you're already a community college student and you're nearing finishing your AA degree, you will receive an email through the system that's going to say, hey, you've received auto admit, and then you basically click through it via your STAR GPS, to choose what campus and what concentration you'd like to transfer to. So auto admit happens in the fall, so it opens up in September and closes in October for you to be able to transfer to the next spring semester. Then again, it opens up in February, closes in March for you to then transfer in the fall semester. So it does take a little bit of pre-planning and kind of knowing to look out for that. It's totally easy. It's like 2 clicks and you are then a student at that, accepted student at that next university.
I don't even remember doing auto admit. That's how painless it is.
Yeah.
It literally is so easy. I highly recommend to all students that are thinking about transferring, absolutely do auto admit.
Totally. And I also want to add on, like, I think people think that transferring sounds scary, or going to it, or the application, or am I going to get rejected? And I want to say that 98% of students don't get rejected. So as long as your GPA is decent at the community college, you have enough credits, and you know where you want to go, transfer is easy and possible and seamless.
Aloha, and welcome back to Transfer Talk. As you know, my name is Travis, and I'm sitting down with my co-host, Dr. Schwab. First, I just want to say mahalo for listening. We are always keeping the listeners in mind while recording these episodes, and we hope that you have enjoyed the podcast thus far. In each one of these recap episodes, we are going to come full circle on some things. First, we will cover the major concepts and takeaways of the series, the philosophy of a successful distance education student at the particular specific stage of the journey, how to define success, and any remaining practical tips you should potentially consider. So, we are at the end of the first series, titled The Decision to Transfer, which covered your last semester at Kauai CC. We sat down with Alyssa Silva to talk readiness and preparedness, Ashia Mindoro and Jessica Herman, who gave their individual perspectives and valuable insight on the transfer process as a distance ed and a face-to-face transfer student, respectively. What else have we discussed so far, Dr. Schwab?
Yeah, Travis, I think this last series that we just went over really gives transferring community college students an idea of what to expect and how to prepare themselves for that decision on where they're going to continue their education. And some of the challenges that you might face as a transfer and making those decisions is you are kind of stepping into a new world. Even though you're still within the University of Hawaii system, you're going to be going to a new university, and you're going to be meeting new faculty, new colleagues, new classmates, people who may not have necessarily been with you throughout your academic journey to this point. But what a great opportunity that is to kind of expand your perspectives and to expand your network of academic individuals who can also speak into your life. And then another challenge that might come up is knowing the culture or what to expect when you get into the university. How different is this from the community college level? Is it more rigorous? Is there a higher level of expectation? How much time am I going to have to spend studying? How much time am I going to be reading? How much time am I going to be writing? And all of that is dependent on the department that you become a part of and what the expectations are for graduating, which is the end result and the end goal. Not only are there some challenges, but there's also some great benefits to recognize when choosing to attend specifically UH West Oahu. And some of these benefits are things like cost. Specifically, if you're going to be a distance ed student, you're already established here on Kauai, so there should be minimal expenses to continuing your studies. So it's going to be quite cost effective compared to the other options that are out there. And another benefit is the class size. UHWO has a great teacher-to-student ratio, and you'll be able to form those authentic relationships with your classmates both here on Kauai and also those who are distance learning from any of the other community colleges, as well as those who are attending classes there at the University of Hawaii West Oahu campus. And one of the last benefits that I really want to emphasize, which really makes UH West Oahu unique, is having an opportunity to embrace specifically the cultural mission of the university. So you're from Kauai. You're studying at a like-minded university that's situated within the local context of the Hawaiian community. And I think that really is one of the things that makes us as researchers, educators, students here in Hawaii something special that offers that to the rest of the world, is our ability to ingrain our minds in the epistemology or the philosophies of the local indigenous culture and what makes Hawaii special. And that's one of the big things that does that. So Travis, you've successfully navigated the transfer process at UH West Oahu, and you're on the verge of completing your studies. Congratulations.
Hey,
big moment for you. Huge milestone. As a distance education student, what were some of the mindsets that kept you grounded throughout your academic journey?
Fantastic question, Dr. Schwab.
Yeah, I expect nothing but fantastic questions coming from myself, Travis. But yeah, what are some of those mindsets that students should have?
Yeah, for sure. You brought up external expectations, those of the university, of the professor. In addition, students should set expectations for themselves. So when thinking about the philosophy of a successful distance education student, there are some important things to keep in mind, especially during your final semester at the community college level. First up, this is a great opportunity for retrospection. I would encourage all Kauai CC graduates, regardless of whether or not they are transferring, to take stock of the lessons that they have learned throughout the previous 2 years of study. This includes questions of, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? What have I done well thus far, and what can I improve on or even change completely? A long look in the mirror does not have to be a dreadful experience. In fact, it can really help you visualize the next steps, and it can promote growth as well. Then we also have to address the senses or the feelings of both certainty and uncertainty. That is, we come to new settings with expectations and assumptions about the new pathway. But I want to emphasize flexibility and adaptability. In other words, lock in, but don't throw away the key.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Travis. There's always value in having a plan, about having structure and setting a routine, but the idea of having adaptability and allowing room to adapt to life circumstances is so important. I mean, I can give an example in my own life is that, I had enrolled in a 3-year program for doctoral studies. And personally, I had to adapt being a father, being a full-time employee, taking classes when I could, putting in the long hours. I had to adapt, and that 3-year program turned into a 4-year program for me. But yet the journey and the goal remained the same. And it's so important not to let yourself get discouraged, even if you find that you need to make changes within the routine structure that you've become used to. There's very high chance that you can be successful if you just continue to walk the course and trust the process. So, Travis, you've been in this journey at UH West Oahu for some time as well. Can you give us an example possibly of where you've had to adapt in your academic journey, and how did you navigate that moment?
Yeah, so let's take it back to my first semester at UH West Oahu. I was originally enrolled in the English program, and I found with time that I was writing all of my papers about the historical context of a given author or a given literary trend, right? So I became aware that why am I not a history major? I'm writing everything about history and I'm in a totally different program. And I wound up transitioning into the history program. But I do recognize that changing your major is a scary thing. There's a certain level of a stigma behind it, but if you find yourself asking, what am I passionate about? What am I most interested in? What do I want to get out of this experience? I think it's important that you take the time to really think through those options and think through those questions and make the right choice for you. Dr. Schwab, can you give us some insight on how to define success at this particular stage in a student's academic journey?
Yeah, sure. So right now, you're on the verge of graduating at Kauai Community College with your associate's degree. You've come a long way. You have progressed as a scholar, as a student. And so I can't emphasize enough, your success right now is finishing strong here on Kauai. Don't let that senioritis get the best of you. Finish strong, get those papers in, get those projects completed so that you can start building that momentum as you look into what the next steps might be. And then after you have actually crossed that finish line and you've accomplished that goal, start thinking about what your 4-year major might be. What are you going to study when you're at the university? Start exploring and investigating the degree plan that you might be going into, and have a plan and strategy in mind. Start devising that plan, devising that strategy. And then remember, you have a goal. You have an academic goal for your life. Stay the course for that goal, no matter when it might take place and how it takes place. I'm going to pass it back over to you, Travis, and ask you a simple question is, what's some of the practical advice you would give to someone transferring into the University of Hawaii at West Oahu?
For sure, yeah. So first up, do some research on your department's faculty. And that doesn't mean just rate my professor, okay? But also look into the official faculty web pages. You want to see what their research interests are, how they approach their work, because this helps you as a student begin to identify ultimately who you want to work with. Also, figure out what citation method your concentration is going to be utilizing and rework one of your previous papers from Kauai CC accordingly to get a feel of the mechanics. For example, when I transitioned into the history department, history uses Chicago Manual of Style. I had never used that before, and I really wish that I would have taken the time to play around it and get the feel of it before I had 3 or 4 papers due at a given time. And then lastly, reach out to some of your previous professors at Kauai CC. You never know who they might have worked with before. I know, for example, a couple of the history faculty here at Kauai CC actually went to grad school with some of my professors at UHWO. You might want to get an introduction that way.
That's great advice, Travis. Excellent pointers for students to take when they're making the transfer. So we want to thank all of you guys for listening to this series. We hope you enjoyed your time listening. We hope you got something out of it. We are looking forward to our second series, Foot in the Door, the first semester at UHWO Oahu. So make sure you stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up next.
Absolutely. Aloha.
We'll see you soon.
Mahalo for listening to Transfer Talk. The views and opinions shared by the hosts and any guests are solely theirs and do not reflect the views and opinions of UH West Oahu or Kauai Community College as an institution. If you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast, please like, share, comment, and check out all the other episodes. Aloha.